I'm Marlon, and this is
Brittany, and this is Titan Talk. So Marlon, lately the common phrase we're hearing is everyone's talking about generational wealth, or what I like to call legacy wealth or family wealth. So what exactly is generational wealth?
Well, the word says it. The words say it. Generational wealth. We know what wealth is. Wealth is a little bit more than rich.
For sure.
And it's passed from generation to generation to generation. So you will have a lot of families that people will refer to, and you'll see generational wealth, which means the great grandfather was rich.
The old money.
Well, there's old money coming down through, and it's the type of money where managed properly should go straight into further generations, 3, 4, 5, 10 generations down. So that is the simple definition.
And in truth, the greatest thing I think that you can do in your life is make your kids wealthy.
Yeah, man. I saw a thing that I said that if you're not from a rich family should come from. Definitely. If you're not from a rich family should come from you. Which takes us into what we're talking about today, because you know what? Not everybody is going to have an oil field to create generational wealth. Not everybody is going to discover gold in some mountains. Not everybody's father or great-great-grandfather is going to start a small production company that becomes this huge manufacturing empire and so forth. So therefore, how do you create generational wealth for yourself, your family, and everything? How do you start the process of making your kids wealthy?
So, and the truth is, when people are just starting out, for example, and they're getting into their personal finances, a lot of the time generational wealth isn't being spoken about. They think that that's a a very lofty long-term kind of goal. But the truth is, you can start from now to create generational wealth. There's things that you can put in place from your 20s to ensure that you're leaving money for your kids and your kids' kids.
And when we talk about that, literally with the stroke of a pen, you can create an instant
immediate estate, right?
Yeah, and let's use a Jamaican situation, for example. A lot of us have the type of parents who honestly they pour everything into you. They have not made the necessary arrangements for themselves to maybe be take care of themselves in retirement. So what you have is a lot of persons who are stuck in that middle where they're coming up. They are taking care of aging parents. They're taking care of growing children.
The sandwich generation.
Yeah, the sandwich generation. So they don't have that sort of money. And unless there's somebody who decides to hear what, I'm going to gamble it all and maybe become an entrepreneur or start this or start forth. They don't have the ability to put aside money into maybe creating like a company or anything that creates that sort of wealth.
Or the financial literacy to even know when to begin or how to begin. Right.
So this is where we come in, really. And this is where our industry comes in. It is a perfect time to segue and say, listen, life insurance is absolutely one of the starts that you could take on, one of the things you can take on to begin your journey to generational wealth.
Right. And not only the journey to create the wealth, but to protect it as well. So what happens to a lot of people is they get the wealth going, but something happens that literally eradicates that wealth. It could be a sickness. One sickness can wipe out wealth for generations. So it's not just the life insurance. There's other insurance that you can put in place to ensure that I'm working hard to create this wealth for my family, but I'm ensuring that it is protected as well.
And the thing is, with you have a lot of examples, even in Jamaica here and across the world, where you see a family was wealthy for 2 generations.
Right.
And by generation 3, it mash up. That part, that the financial literacy part, where people need to be literate about how to handle finances. But also just not having the necessary protections in place, because our industry is, when you look at the financial pyramid, our industry is level 2, protection.
Protect. You actually protect before you even begin to try to build.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're building your house, you have to make sure that the foundation
starting as a foundation.
It no makes sense you build this massive house
with no foundation.
With the foundation weak. And then on top of it, at the end of the house, when you build this $50 million house, you don't use something like hurricane straps just to make sure.
Right. So and that is the importance of applying things as you go on, like you say, insurance, to ensure that the wealth is actually protected. And there is wealth to be passed to generations.
No, me gonna ask you understand me? I gotta throw it to you. Say I popped up one day and said, Miss Quallo, somebody gave me a card and said, I should talk to you. All right? About creating generational wealth. Where do you lead me to? What do you talk to me about?
So there are many ways to acquire generational wealth. You have investments, investing in stocks, gaining equity in companies. That's a form of creating wealth, outside of your regular income. You have the real estate market is one of the greatest ways as well to create generational wealth. You could leave properties for kids that provides rental income for them. Or it may provide a home for them to live in that they don't need to take out a mortgage. Or they have money left over because there's no student loans because of life insurance, which brings us back to your first point. So there are many avenues you can take to accumulate your wealth and to protect your wealth.
Because I was about to say, so when I have no money for buy one apartment or anything like that, how does a 9-to-5er who decent income perhaps, but not that sort of income that would allow them to, maybe they can acquire their own home at some point late in life.
But there's nothing
extra.
Not the extra. Right.
What me do then, Brittany?
So in that case, again, there is the assets. So one way of creating general wealth is the actual assets and protection in the form of life insurance. So you may not have the money to create that legacy for your kids in terms of physical cash or assets, but by taking out an insurance policy, as we spoke about before, you're ensuring that when you do pass on, that they will come for all of us. You're ensuring that generations to come, your kids will be able to pay off anything that they need to pay off. If you are leaving a house for them, for example, and that's how life insurance comes into play with a mortgage. A lot of people don't understand how it works, but a lot of this is part of building your generational wealth. People will leave property for family and they can't even afford to probate the will. And properties will sit down locked up, losing value because you cannot afford basically to claim your own assets. So it's not just about the wealth and putting it aside. You have to protect it. You have to guide, you have to work with professionals, you have to work with people who have the financial literacy and the legal literacy to know exactly what you should do with your money to ensure that the wealth is passed on.
Yeah, because, government, you can't get nothing until government gets to them own, no matter what.
Yep.
And I've actually had, I've had situations like that where I'm talking to clients where they are property rich and asset rich, but the truth of the matter is if there was a need for 3% of what they own in cash, it's not there. And so forth. So with a life insurance policy now, what you have done is for persons who already are on the path and have assets and so to protect, what you have done now is, because cash is king.
Cash absolutely
is always king.
Cash is king.
And so forth. They have the cash to even to expand, even if your family is already well off. Let's use the word well off, not wealthy yet.
Well off,
You're a businessman, you start a nice little company, go on, you might have one business somewhere. In having a proper life insurance, and then we will also touch into business insurance and all at some point, how it protects you and help you as a businessman. You're passing this on to your son, your daughter, and whatever. Your life insurance policy, because you may not have gotten to fulfill the dream of having a branch in every parish and expanding into the Caribbean. What your life insurance policy could do then is inject that capital. So you're going to
allow for the expansion.
Rich, you understand? You're going to move from rich to your family being wealthy.
And the truth is, those who inherit generational wealth, they have a head start in life.
Yes.
You set up your kids for that little, 1 foot ahead, where they may graduate from school. There's no student loans. Student loans it's like an Alcatraz around the necks of new graduates, and that is a way to help your kids. Simply removing the student loans, simply leaving back money that they can either purchase their own property or take a property that you've had for rental income.
And that's part of helping them out of being part of that sandwich because you're going to ensure that you take care of your businesses, having the right type of insurances. Like critical illness comes to mind right here.
That's my favorite type of insurance.
I know.
Critical illness is my favorite type of insurance.
Critical illness comes in right here where you, and it's one of my favorite forms of protection. You see, bad for bad, if on your debt, even if you don't leave wealth, don't leave debt.
Yep.
That is one
don't
of the
leave,
best things.
yep.
Do not leave debt. Don't leave it a situation where they have to find money. Don't leave it that you're in a hospital and every little thing that you have accumulated over the years that you might want to pass on to your children, they now have to be selling. You now have to be selling in order to save your life. And this is where, again, critical illness. That's my favorite form of protection.
And I think people don't view the critical illness all the time as a money-making venture or a wealth-building venture. You know, they look at other forms of investments because, you know, you think of it as money that you're using to help get better, to help get treatment. But the truth is, as I said before, a critical illness can wipe you out. It's a part of your generational wealth-building strategy. You know, it makes no sense that you are spending all of your life to create wealth and you're not being preparing yourself for a major illness. One illness can wipe out years of wealth building.
And I will tell you, I put it like this, right? If you're, and I'm just throwing out figures here. Somebody says to you, hey, you come and you say to a surgical agent or a
financial advisor,
financial advisor, and you say, hey, I want to invest $10,000 a month.
Right.
And they say to you, all right, let's put aside 3 for your critical illness. No, man, I want to invest all. Because what you're thinking is, this is $120,000 you're putting aside each year. You multiply that by 10. Let's just say, miraculously, you got 100% return on your 120. You're at $240,000 at the end. And over 10 years, let's say that's it will take you 10 years to get $2.4 million in hand. And anywhere along that point, if you ever got one of those diagnoses that says, Mr. Brown, and unfortunately, there goes your $2.4 million. Even less than that, because you know, reach a 10 years track. But what you have done when you put like a critical illness plan in place is say, hey, whilst I build all of that other wealth, just in case I can't play with you like, you can take care of it. Because instantly you'd have created that $2.4 million or more. With that little bit that you put aside.
Which is why I refer to particularly the critical illness insurance as investment insurance. That's just how I look at it. You know, so but again, insurance is just one of the ways you can create generational wealth. So Marlon, you know, if you're just getting started in your personal financial planning, you know, so a lot of the times generational wealth is probably not even part of the conversation, right? So it should be. So, you know, I think people think generational wealth is this lofty long-term goal. You can start now. You know, there's things that you can put in place now that will help you with your wealth building strategies.
Yeah, and you don't have to do it alone, right? You can get in touch with a professional, with a financial advisor who can help you to figure it all out. I would prefer if you get in touch with a Titan advisor, but listen, at this point, any advisor, any competent, licensed financial advisor would provide you with the sort of information, the sort of assistance you need in getting yourself on the way to generational wealth. Me not care where you find or where you get your insurance, as long as you have insurance. I have seen too many stories of persons who are well on the way where a little diagnosis threw them off. I've seen too many stories of where people are used to a certain level of lifestyle and the breadwinner passes and that lifestyle plunges. I've seen too many stories of persons who the wealth is right there, but them can't access it because them can't find that cash. Yo, the professionals, the persons to help you are out there, right? So go look for them.
Seek and you will find, guys. There are professionals out there. You know, it could be overwhelming. Nobody likes to speak about their finances. You know, it's a little bit overwhelming, or people feel almost a little shy to sit, but have a conversation, you know. You don't know what's out there. You don't know how things can be applied in ways that you may not even realize that it could help you to build wealth. So have a conversation, guys. Just sit. Find the professionals, they're there for you. Sit with someone and express to them what it is you would want for your kids. As you said, you see the lifestyle change after a diagnosis. Also, when someone passes away, you want to ensure that your family can maintain the same standard of living that they were having before, you know?
So shoot us a message, send us a little DM, send us a little one email, etc. We have so many competent advisors, you know, we can speak to. Free consultation. Don't forget that part. We can assess your needs. We can both work out a plan to ensure that that protection level for your finances is well taken care of.
And remember, it's not a one size fits all. You know, it's a very personal thing. So you need to have a conversation with somebody to figure out what works for you based on your situation. Marlon, one of the greatest things you can do in your life is make your kids wealthy.
Agreed.